What's up, team? It's been a while. A couple weeks after the Ironman now, and I've had a lot of time to reflect on it. I'm back in the gym, I'm working out, doing my thing. That was the hardest day of my entire life. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, mentally, physically, everything. I learned a lot. It's also one of the most fun times I've ever had in my life too, which is kind of weird to say. It was like the hardest day, but also the most fun. But coming into the Ironman, I was a year exactly training. I was prepared. I felt good. Training was going really, really good, and I was definitely prepared. But there was a lot of things that was going on, like coming into that. I had taken a rest day longer than 2 days in a row for a year. The taper got really, really hard for me. Mentally, like I just got really, really stuck in my head. I wanted to keep training. I wanted to keep working hard because I thought that that was what was needed. So that was a big mental block, but coming into the race day, I felt really good. I felt really prepared. I was rested. I felt strong. I felt fit. So a day up, we got up really early. We ate food, listened to a lot of music, got into my zone. It was really weird because this is the first time I was doing an individual sport, and it was also not a contact sport. That was the first time I've ever done that. I was going to be alone by myself. So I think I was really just getting prepared mentally to go into the storm and really get ready to suffer for that day. We ate food. We got to the race venue at about 4:45 in the morning. Got everything put away. Made sure my tires were pumped up on my bike. Made sure all the waters were full, the Gatorades were in, salt tablets were packed. Double, triple, quadruple checked everything in the midst of my anxiety. And then I joined the sea of lines at the porta potty. I probably took like 3 or 4 poops before I left for the venue. So we got up at like 2 in the morning so that I could start eating, drink coffee, and digest everything. But I still took another 2, 3 poops before the race. So those of you that have been following the journey, you guys know that swimming was the worst part for me. That was definitely the one I was nervous most about. The day of the race, we got corralled into our numbers. So there's like a bunch of people standing there with signs, and they're like holding up these times, and it says, 1 hour and below, 1 hour to 110, 110 to 120, 120 to 140. You go into these little corrals, right? So I go, and I wanted to line myself up with people that were going to be a little bit faster than I was, but definitely didn't want to get ahead of myself. So I went with the 110 to 120 people, and I was guessing between 130 to 145. As we line up, we're all really, really nervous. A bunch of people are talking to each other. Some people know each other, and I'm just kind of sitting there stretching and getting into my zone. And I was just kind of going through everything in my head that I had been working on. And over the last year, I just kind of was replaying all the pain, all the suffering, all of the really, really mentally challenging times that I went through. I don't know if you guys know this, but when you're pushing the limits every day, you go through a lot when you're battling with yourself, and when you're just kind of locked in your head for hours on end, or you're feeling a lot of pain and you want to quit. The only thing you can really do is turn inside yourself. So I was kind of just replaying everything that I've been through in my life, the reasons why I did this Ironman. I was thinking about the youth in my city. I was thinking about all the money we've raised, all the people we were going to be able to help, and how we can keep kind of helping through what we're doing here with the Ironman and what we're going to be doing in the future. That kind of stuff just motivated me. But there was one thing that really kind of set me off. The night before, my coach, and she was like amazing the entire process. Michelle Stevens, thank you so much. She will be continuing to be my triathlon coach as we move forward. But and I told her, like, I'm so nervous. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. But I'm really nervous about the swim, and I just really want to do good, and I don't want to fail. And she sent me this text, and all she said was, "You can't do anything about it now. You've been training for a year, and the race is tomorrow." She said, "The hay is in the barn. It's time to burn that motherfucker down." And honestly, I get like goosebumps thinking about it right now. It gets me fired up. But when she said that to me, I got so fired up that I read that text probably 700 times leading up to the Ironman in the morning of the race, to the point where I just was ready to go. Like it was a rugby game, or it was a wrestling match, or it was something that was just like, oh. I read that a whole bunch of times, and I was really, really ready. When they bring you down, because of COVID, it wasn't a mass swim start. Usually they do like all 2,000 guys at once, but it was 3 people every 5 seconds. Guys would real start together, but we're walking in, and I'm just so nervous, and I can see this course, and I'm about to swim 4K. And so then when that gun goes off, they tell you to go. You jump in the water, and it's go full bore. Like, you've got 2,000 people trampling on each other. So like I said, I'm not the greatest swimmer. I was definitely not the most confident swimmer, and I'm not the biggest guy. Like, I'm only 5'6". Race day morning, I was like 150 pounds, and I was getting trampled on real quickly by the bigger guys that were trying to pass me. So I kind of just pulled off to the edge, and I just swam by myself, and I just put my head down, and I just kept repeating to myself, the haze in the barn, burn that motherfucker down. And I just kept repeating it, burn it, burn it. And then I would count my strokes. I count my strokes, count my strokes. I got to a couple hundred, and I stopped counting my strokes. And the next thing I knew, I was just kind of in this like lull. I was in this, I don't even know, I was just in this like space, and I wasn't in the water. I won't say it was an outer body experience or anything like that, but I got into this zone, and I was just me feeling my strokes, and I was breathing, and I was controlled. The swim was a 2 lap, so it was about 2K each lap, and you jump out of the water, and I'm gonna go do it again now, and I'm gonna go even faster. So now I was repeating it even more. Burn it down, burn it down, burn it down, pick it up. I remember seeing my mother, and I saw Tamaya, my fiance, and I just remember yelling out to them, that was so easy, let's go. And I just jumped back in, and I did it again. And when I came around, I got back into that zone, and when I came around for the second lap, I had this like feeling take over me. 3.5, 4 months ago, there was no way in hell I was going to be able to swim this distance. And 6 months ago, I couldn't even swim 50 meters. So the fact that I just swam 4 kilometers and I didn't drown, I didn't get time capped, and I didn't emergency lifted out of the water was a win on my own. And when I came around that last buoy, there's probably like 200 meters, and I was just screaming under the water, just pounding it, like going as hard as I could, but I was just yelling and screaming, and I was like, yes, yes, like I did this swim. I was so excited. And when I got out of the water, I found my mom, and I found my fiance again, and I just remember being like, yo, I didn't drown, it's time to race.
I didn't drown, so the race is on.
Woo! And everybody that knows me knew that when I got out of the water, the race was on. I was ripping my wetsuit off, and I was just thinking about make up time. Get on the bike and hammer down. For sports, like I flip the switch, and I go into my own zone. I become a different person. And so when I came out of the water, that race day kind of feel got real. You know, people were kind of, joking around and hey man, you good job, like this and that. And I was just not talking to anyone. It was game on for me. So I jumped on my bike as fast as I could. I popped a couple of gels, I clipped in, and I was just head down pedaling. So I definitely came out a little bit too hot, but I settled in, and we just got to work. So we're on the bike. So I'm feeling good, I'm hunkering down, I'm working hard. I kind of get into a group of people, and there's like 3 or 4 of us. We were just kind of pulling everyone in. At this point, I didn't really know how far back I was. I had no idea where I was coming out of the swim. I knew that I had a pretty decent swim time for myself, but I knew that there was going to be a lot of people that got out of the water within like an hour. So I just really wanted to work hard. So I got into this group of people, and we had just come down this hill. Looking at my computer, I was clocked in and going like 52 kilometers an hour. And this was around the 60-kilometer mark or so. I got into an accident, and a guy ended up swerving into me, taking me out. We both crashed pretty bad. I was cut up on my hand, my elbow, my hip was destroyed. Ripped a hole in my suit on my hip, ripped a hole in my suit on my shoulder, partially dislocated my knee. There was just a whole situation where they were trying to get me into an ambulance, and I had to kind of fight my way out of it. And I ended up getting back on the bike, but that was kind of where my day went a little bit south, as you can see. After the bike crash, I was pretty angry. So when I got back on my bike, I just kind of put my head down and went to work. So I kind of threw my nutrition plan out the window. I was drinking a lot of water and a lot of Gatorade, but I was not taking in enough carbs. On the whole bike ride, I probably took in like 1,500 calories, probably close to 2,000 calories down where I should have been. So after that bike crash, it actually helped me make up a lot of time. It started pissing rain. Every single time I've been on my bike in the rain in training, I crashed. So 3 times in the rain, 3 crashes. I got super nervous, and I was like, damn, I'm already bleeding, I'm already cut up, and then kind of just went through my head, this is game day, I'm in the Ironman. So I put my head down, and I just kept working, and I ended up finishing the bike in 5 hours and 41 minutes. It was the fastest time I've ever biked, 180 kilometers, and I got right to work on the marathon. By the time I got to the transition 2 area, to get from your bike to your run. My knee was so swollen, I could barely bend my knee. So I was literally just like hobbling through the marathon.
Out on the bike.
You're good. Pace yourself. Pace yourself. You got this.
And so I came out really hot on the first 5-6K, and I was running like a 4:10 to a 4:30 pace. That was definitely too fast to start with. My nutrition plan that I threw out on the bike kind of came back to bite. I got the worst gastrointestinal pains I've ever had in my life. I honestly think I know what labor feels like. I'm not gonna start an argument with any women on here, but I was in a lot of pain. And the marathon was the worst pain I've ever been in from my knee and my stomach. I've never had to walk in a run before, and I had to walk probably about 5-6K in that marathon. And it took me just under 4.5 hours for that. I was on pace to run a 3:30 marathon. That's what we wanted. And I just blew up because of the bike crash and my nutrition plan. And so I ended up finishing my whole race in 11 hours and 56 minutes. I came 28th in my age group. Overall, like now that the dust has settled and we've been out of it for a while, I do feel really proud. When I came down that finishing chute, I will never be able to explain the feelings that I had. I was bawling my eyes out uncontrollably. When I came over the finish line, I collapsed. I couldn't move my legs. My body was shattered. I was in so much pain. I was bawling because I was so happy. I was bawling because I was so upset and I was so hurt. I was talking gibberish, hallucinating. I was not there because of how deficient I was in my nutrition. Eating a turkey sandwich, imagining it's an ice cream cone, and I'm just out of it. But it was the worst pain I've ever experienced and the most fun I've had in my existence of life. And I cannot wait to do it again. But now I'm chasing a podium. So the answer to everybody's question is yes, I am doing an Ironman again. Yes, I am going to continue to do triathlon. I enjoy it. But no, this is not the end of the road for me. I am going to continue with my fitness endeavors, and we've got a lot of big news coming up. So thank you so much for watching the video. Please hit that subscribe button below, like, share. Also, if you want to support the channel and support us along the journey of helping out the youth in our community and fundraising for charitable events, check out omtteam.com. Buy some merch, buy some clothes, rock that mentality, and change your mind, change your life. Keep going one more time. We'll see you in the next one.